Welcome to Road Warriors for Christ, the place where faith and reason meet. I am the Faith Tank. I store your questions and share them with our Road Warriors. You can email your questions directly to me at askroadwarriors@gmail.com. Warriors, start your engines.
Do you believe that dinosaurs lived on the earth at the same time man did?
Wow. I don't know.
Of course.
Do you believe that dinosaurs lived on the earth the same time that man did?
Yes, I do.
Yes. Well, I think that there's a distinct possibility that they did, yes.
So do you think that dinosaurs lived on the earth at the same time man did?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely, because you can actually prove that. In Peru, they have these Ica stones, they're called, and they're stones, hundreds of them. They have drawings on them with man and dinosaurs together. So, and they're in color. How do they know that?
Well, to tell you the truth, I don't know.
So do you think men and dinosaurs existed at the same time on earth?
By the way, I think I did get knocked off the bike by a dinosaur. Well, what can you do, eh?
So do you believe that dinosaurs lived on the earth at the same time man did?
There's no doubt about it. Archaeologists have found human foot tracks with dinosaur foot tracks, plus they found dinosaur bones with soft tissue. So the myth about them being billions of years old is just that, a fairy tale.
A long, long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, all the energy and all the matter was contained in a single point, a singularity.
Long ago, before there was space and time, there was only God. God was eternal. God was aseity. He didn't need anything.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. For the Lord God gave us and reigned. The singularity exploded into a big boom. Or perhaps we could say a big bang.
And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God spoke, and there was something rather than nothing.
Then it rapidly expanded, randomly forming all of the stars and the planets that we see today.
And God designed the universe. He designed the stars to burn. He designed the earth with gravity. He designed nature, and he brought everything to a perfect climax in this creation.
Now here is the interesting part. At some point the rains fell, mixing with the sludge of the land. And then some multicellular animals formed, and eventually, at random, formed into more complex creatures, crawling out of the water with their little gills flapping in the wind. And there is where all life evolved from. Now top that.
God designed nature. God designed animals in the sea, creatures in the sea, and then animals on the land. God made every animal with a purpose, and ultimately He made the highest of all, man, who had a conscience and the ability to choose right from wrong. To love God or to hate Him, to serve Himself or to serve others. God made us so that we could choose who to serve, either ourselves or God and our fellow man.
Sounds legit.
This is Nick, and he has a question.
The Bible tells us that the earth is relatively young. So how does it address dinosaurs?
Dinosaurs in the Bible?
Can we question what we've been trained to believe?
What do we really know?
A worldview. The way you view the world is called your worldview.
Why is there something rather than nothing? Are you alive for a purpose? Does your life have meaning? Does anyone's? What is that meaning?
Your answers to these questions will tend to define how you define everything around you.
Who are you?
We use words like theist. A theist is a person who believes in the existence of a god or gods, specifically of a creator who intervenes in the universe.
We use words like atheist, a person who disbelieves or lacks belief in the existence of God or gods.
We tend to define ourselves by associating with people who have a similar worldview, who view truth the way we do. It has everything to do with how we're brought up and what we value as things to fight against or to fight for.
Your answers to many questions are defined by these most important questions.
What we've been taught our whole lives defines us and who we are. But the national religion of the USA and most Western countries is secular humanism. Secular humanism, or simply humanism, is a philosophy or life stance that embraces human reason, ethics, and philosophical naturalism while specifically rejecting religious dogma, supernaturalism, pseudoscience, and superstition as the basis of morality and decision-making.
One absolute about secular humanism is that no God can be acknowledged. No intelligent creator at all. Not ever.
They learned long ago that theists hold creation and design itself as evident proofs of a creator. No painting ever painted itself, and for that matter, no eye or liver or brain designed itself either. Christians see God's fingerprints everywhere. Humanists and science teachers see random chance and long periods of time.
The highest idea of secularism is that the government can substitute for God. We can just all serve the collective instead. Another JW.
Tell them that when Jesus was put to death, Pilate had the soldiers place a sign above his head that read, "This is Jesus, the King of the Jews." This is found in Matthew 27:37. Notice that the NWT says the soldiers did indeed put this sign above his head. But when we look on page 52 of the Jehovah's Witness Companion Guide, the picture shows that the sign is placed above Jesus' hands and not his head. Since the text tells us that the sign was placed above his head, then why would this artist depict the sign placed above his hands? The Greek word for the method of the execution device used is stauros, which can mean a bright stake. But if we're to be intellectually honest, it can also mean crossbeam, which history tells us was sometimes carried by the criminal sentenced to death by the Romans. The Romans used the following means of execution. When we exegete the scripture of Matthew 27:37 in the proper context, it is logical to conclude that the crossbeam would have been what Jesus carried to his own sacrifice. This crossbeam, then, would have been fixed to the upright stake. Outstretched arms would give room for a sign to be placed above Jesus' head. By the way, at what time of day was Adam created?
I don't know. What time of day was Adam created?
A little before Eve.
In 1841, when just 9 types of different reptiles have been uncovered, Dr. Richard Owen coined the name Dinosauria, meaning terrible lizard. Where do dinosaurs fit into this whole idea?
Science can be irrefutable like math, provable. These are the hard sciences like biology, chemistry, and physics. With these, scientists can predict and prove many things.
So when we study the soft sciences, science that cannot be tested and confirmed like psychology, sociology, and paleontology, or even cosmology, we are left with brilliant people expressing their opinions about the way things are or were. So it is possible to see a fossil and have very different ideas about it.
We're all looking at the same evidence, regardless of our worldview. We all look at the same fossils, the same bones, the same tracks, the same rocks, and we come with very different ideas. But because nobody was there, neither side can say definitively, I can prove it. It's possible to see an expanding universe and interpret the data in very different ways. In fact, new theories in these soft sciences are common.
What the Bible teaches about when dinosaurs lived. No fossil has ever been dug up with a date stamp of 65 to 165 million years old. In fact, the only thing we know for sure is that a dinosaur lived and died. There was nobody there with an iPhone to record the event, no news reporter, and certainly no scientist.
Many times the scientists who study these things are humanists and simply believe the state religion. Because they assume the bones are millions of years old, they conclude that they've discovered million-year-old bones.
No, they are not bones. That would be impossible. Shows what I know. Silly! Bones millions of years old? Bones cannot possibly last millions of years. They're fossils.
Soft tissues such as blood vessels, muscle, and skin decay and disappear over time, while hard tissues like bone may gradually acquire minerals from the environment and become fossils. This is old news. The reason why fossils are discovered is because the bones absorbed minerals. See? Probing a 68 million year old T-Rex, Mary Schweitzer stumbled upon astonishing signs of life that may radically change our view of the ancient beasts. But not how old the bones are.
Schweitzer, one of the first scientists to use the tools of modern cell biology to study dinosaurs, has upended the conventional wisdom by showing that some rock-hard fossils, tens of millions of years old, may have
remnants of soft tissue hidden away in their interiors? And that's by Smithsonian.com, which is not a Christian publication. It couldn't be that the bones aren't millions of years old.